Before we get into the episode, I am thrilled to announce that the Entremd Business School is open for enrollment. The Entremd Business School is the only school of its kind for physicians who want to build 6, 7, and multiple 7-figure businesses. Over the last 2 years, we have had hundreds of doctors go through the school with unbelievable results. Some of them run brands, some of them run private practices, some of them are coaches, some have other kinds of service-based businesses or product-based businesses. And we've had people come in and cross the 6-figure milestone, cross the 7-figure milestone, cross the multiple 7-figure milestone. You will be in a place where you'll get the coaching, the community, the accountability that you need to thrive as an entrepreneur, especially in the times that we're in. So maybe you've been following me for a while. Maybe you've been getting so much out of the Entremd podcast and you've been wondering, how can I work with Dr. Una and the community more? Well, this is your chance. Come join us in the Entremd Business School. It is application only. So go to entremd.com/business to turn in your application. I cannot tell you how many doctors have made statements like this. I recovered my investment in the first week. I recovered my investment in my bank account in the first 90 days. This is the best investment I've made in myself ever. I want you to have that kind of story, not just a story of building a great business that serves a lot and earns a lot, but having a business that gives you the freedom to live life on your terms. So don't wait any longer. entremd.com/business. And now for the episode. Hi, docs. Welcome to the Entremd podcast, where it's all about helping amazing physicians just like you embrace entrepreneurship so you can have the freedom to live life and practice medicine on your terms. I'm your host, Dr. Una. Well, hello. Welcome, my friends, to another episode of the Entremd podcast. I am joined today by Dr. Tui. I have been looking forward to this conversation because she is a very inspiring doc who in a short time has created a lot of massive wins in her journey as an entrepreneur. And whether you are a veteran, whether you are just starting, whether you work a job and your brand is your business, there's so much to learn. Okay, so Dr. Tui, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Dr. Una. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited you are here. Okay, so inquiring minds want to know. Give us a brief introduction so that people get an idea of why I'm so excited that I have you on the show.
Sure. So, hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Tui Lauilefue, and I am the founder and medical director of Thurston Internal Medicine. So I provide compassionate, direct primary care services to patients in Olympia, Washington, and surrounding areas, and recently have really started focusing on more weight health management, really focusing on helping my patients lose weight for that last time. I do want to mention, and please let me know if I end up rambling too much, but I am originally from American Samoa, which is a small U.S. territory. We are in the middle of the South Pacific. I left home after high school. I did everything really in Hawaii. So undergrad, medical school, my internal medicine residency, all with the University of Hawaii in Manoa, which is on Oahu. And my first job out of residency was actually at the hospital that I trained at. So I did that academic medicine mainly for 3 years. And then I moved up to Washington for the next 3 years, where I found myself being employed in the corporate medicine world. And there is a lot that I could say about that. And you may be asking me about that in a little bit, but basically corporate world, really not for me, not a lot of autonomy. And it was there was always a kind of sadness there, really, Dr. Una. It did not at all match up with how I always envisioned medicine to be. So, and you have been my ear. I don't think I ever mentioned it to you, but you have been my ear since probably around 2020, since I was at that corporate job, just listening to that podcast. I mean, it played such a big role for me to have that mind shift, right? That mindset change to know that, hey, this is not what medicine is really about. There could be more, right? There could be life outside of this, outside of these walls, really. So when I discovered the podcast and then the business school, and I was super excited when you announced EBS Advanced. So I think that was when I really thought to myself, hey, I need to, this is something that I really need to do because I've been wanting to leave corporate medicine after that happened and then start my own business. This is really the way to do it. And I'm so glad I did because things have just, it has just been the year of transformation for me, really.
A year of transformation. Now, so you know me, so that's like magic. Those are like magic words. My entire brain is lit up. I'm all about the transformation. And so let's talk about that, right? Because you started off with EBS Advance, which when we launched that was a 6-month program.
Yes.
And then after that, you came into what everybody knows as the Entremd Business School, which is EBS Grow. And so you've had, and I've heard your wins, right? So Makita would say, oh, this is what is going on with Dr. Tui. I'm like, are you kidding me? And so talk to me about this year. Like, what are the transformations that have been created? And I think it's really important to share it because someone is listening thinking they're stuck, whether that's stuck in their job or stuck in the stage their business is in or stuck with the team that they have. And we really are like Play-Doh, right? Like if we don't like it, we can change it, but we forget, right? So talk to us about what this year has been like.
Of course. No, I'm super excited to share what's been happening this year for me. So I joined, I think it was May, June when EBS Advance first opened up, right? So it's more like a go at your own pace type of program. And then every month we'd have these meetings with the group to just kind of check in on everyone. But since I started, the thing that really stands out is just feeling comfortable putting yourself out there, because you could be the greatest business on earth, but if nobody knows you exist, I mean, you can only do so much. You can only help so many people, right? So being comfortable with putting yourself out there. And it was around that same month or like a few weeks after we started that I decided, hey, I've been living here for a couple of years. I've never done a community event. I think it's time to get my name out there. So what I did was I signed up for this local, it was a local Polynesian festival, right? And they emphasized just arts and medicine and just, it was more like a health event. So I went and I set up a tent there. So, we had people come in. It was a good opportunity for me to talk about my direct primary care practice and even with the weight loss medicine that I was doing. And then I ended up checking this lady's blood pressure and we were just chatting. And then she told me that she was actually part of this organization. It was the Asian Pacific Islander Coalition of Washington. So I was like, oh, that's nice. So I'm like, wow, just for me being there, I was able to get these new contacts. Like I didn't even realize that they had such a group in the area. And that was really the population that I was looking to tap into more. And then fast forward a couple of months, she sends me a message on Facebook. And I don't think I put it in that general post that I did, but she sent me a message and said that, hey, do you remember me? We met back at that event a couple of months ago. We have a leadership event coming up. And I was wondering if you could be one of our speakers. So of course I was like, yes. Like, where do I sign up? So, I mean, I was super excited that she even remembered me and reached out to me. So we kind of went back and forth. We figured out the details. And then I showed up. I did my first talk with them just a few weeks ago in October. And I think it went well. I mean, there are always things you look back and then you kind of criticize yourself. But overall, I think I was able to accomplish what I set out to do. So that was good. And that just tells me that, hey, if you put yourself out there, you give it a chance, you never know who you're going to run into. So now I'll be in kind of like her radar for speakers whenever it comes to that event every year now. And she's been sending me follow-up messages too. So that was one thing that I did as soon as EBS Advance started.
Look at that. And we're talking less than 6 months, people, right? And then you also launched, if I remember correctly, you also launched a weight loss program. Do I have that right? Because Makita's like, oh yeah. So first of all, when the Entremd Business School Advance opened, right? I went in to do something there. I'm like, who is Tui? Like, she's done more videos than anybody. She's asked, who is this person? I was like, keep an eye on her, right? And then so Makita comes back. Do you know she launched a weight loss program and she filled it, and she has another one and it's filled for how many ever months later? I was like, are you kidding me? So talk to us about that.
Yeah, so it was. Oh no, Makita has been great to talk to when I check in with her to see what I should do. And but basically, so weight health management, it's something that I've been thinking about doing for a long time. I mean, I've been doing it with my patients, but it was this year that I decided to actually create just a separate focus, separate program just for weight health management. So I was then able to create this. I wasn't sure how many people I wanted. So I was like, well, we'll just start it. Like they said, just do it messy. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just going to put it out there and then see what people say. So I ended up creating 10 slots, and then I announced it. And then it actually filled within 24 hours of that announcement going out. So, and actually I got 2 extra people sign up before I could close enrollment. So then I ended up with 12 people. No, but it's been great. So we're now in our 4th month, and we've had to do a lot of changes and modify some things here and there because they are the first cohort. But so far, I'm loving it, Dr. Una, and I'm glad that I really didn't wait to do something like this. And Makita is right. So she had told me, well, if you already have a wait list, then you need to do something about your prices. But I told her, we'll get there. We'll just focus on this first cohort, making sure that I'm getting my people their wins. We're seeing things through for them. But
that's amazing.
It's been quite a journey. Yeah.
And so that's a whole vertical in your business that's creating revenue that maybe wouldn't have happened, right? But you decided, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it scared. I'm going to do it messy. And to be clear, when we say messy, we don't mean mediocre. We mean the best we can do at the time, right?
Exactly.
And so you're like, this is what I got, and look at what you've done. And that's going to create testimonials. It's going to create proof of concepts. It's going to create so many things. And we don't know what this goes on to become, right? And so that is really powerful. Now, when we were looking, now at this point, you're in the Entremd Business School, right? And we're looking at our wins for this third quarter of the year. You talked about the weight loss program. You talked about the growth in your practice. I think you're at what, 350 patients for your panel? Just like that, right? Yeah. So 350 patients in the panel. You talked about paid speaking gigs, and this is since May. This is May to technically October, because we're just at the very beginning of November, right? And so that's 5 months. So now you understand why I'm so excited, because I'm like, if you're doing this in 5 months, I mean, I don't think anybody's ready for you, including you. You know what I'm saying? So, but what I do want you to talk about here is there are 2 things. One is, one of the things you did, which I'm so proud of you for doing, is you raised your prices, right? So talk to me about that, because that's something people think about. They have mind drama around it. They think it makes them greedy. They think everybody's going to leave and their business is going to go out of business and all of those things. But I remember you did it. And after that, you were like, what was the lesson? The lesson is, don't be afraid to raise your prices. So talk to us about that experience, and then tell us how we should think about it. Share the lesson with us.
Oh, definitely. So that was one of my lessons. And I mean, that was the case for me too. And I think to some extent it still is, right? Because as physicians, when we think about selling, it's sometimes it has this negative connotation when really there shouldn't be, right? Because we've spent years doing training, and we have the expertise and just not being afraid to raise your prices and knowing the value that you bring. And it's not for us to really make money. It's like the more people that we can help, the more people that we can reach. And then we're able to then take that even to the next level, right? So we can have a broader reach even. So when I started, and it's a small community, so we have different DPC clinics in the area. And then because I did transition from an existing practice with taking traditional insurance before I pivoted, I was able to convert a lot of my patients over with me. But then as the months went by, I was like, well, we're learning about these things and I know what I bring to the table. So and I think maybe it's time to raise prices. So then I did. And then you know what, Dr. Una, they're still coming. They're still coming because the way that we have grown as a clinic is mainly through word of mouth. So all these referrals, it's patients, family members, and other people in the community. All the specialists know us, so they're still sending people over, and it's not really stopping them from seeking care. So you seek out your people. Your people will know, they'll see and they'll understand your worth, right? And to be able to offer direct primary care without the hassles that come along with insurance, we're able to provide that access. We're able to see them urgently. They have that direct communication with me if they should need to see me. So I think when I talked to Makita, I was like, yes, we will do that for the next cohort. But I mean, since I had that mindset change that, hey, there's nothing wrong with doing that. People will know your value. It's worth doing. It's worth doing. So I have less mind drama about it. It's still there, but a lot less than before.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? When we practice things like that, the mind drama gets less. I don't know that it completely goes away.
Mm-hmm.
I've only been an entrepreneur for 14 years. It hasn't gone yet. So we'll see. So for now, I'm going with it doesn't go away. When I'm 80, maybe we'll have a different conversation. But yeah, I mean, for you, really embracing that, right? Because again, we live in an economic world. Like we can't just make up numbers. The numbers have to work, right? Mm-hmm. And so not only did your practice grow numerically, like the number of patients you were seeing, but the value per patient was still higher. And I can only imagine that puts your practice in a much better state financially, right? Not like it was in distress or anything like that, but the financial stability is like so much more. So I'm super happy for you for that. Yeah. The other thing I want to talk about, because we're really big on creating your dream life and your dream business simultaneously, right? Because sometimes thought is, I did all this stuff for med school, gave up my youth, blah, blah, blah. And then now it's time to be an entrepreneur. It's like hustle, hustle, hustle. And we're like, I mean, you're going to work hard. Nobody tries to belittle that fact. But, how about we have a version of our dream life we can live right now? And then we just keep upgrading that version as we go. So talk to me about what embracing these things. So you had the new vertical, you had the numeric growth of your DPC, you had the financial growth of your DPC, you got more comfortable putting yourself out there, all of these things. How has being an entrepreneur impacted your personal life? Like you living life on your terms, you living your version of a dream life right now?
Mm-hmm. This is probably the first year that I can really say that I mean, again, like I said earlier, it's just been transformational. And since really putting myself out there, I mean, I have so much more time now. It sounds weird, but it's true. I feel like I worked a lot more. I don't even feel like it. I know I worked a lot more hours in the corporate world, but now it's, as far as my personal life, like my daughter, she's 2 now. And so this is our second time rescheduling the interview. But if you remember, I had to leave to take her in to see her doctor because she wasn't feeling well. If I was back at my corporate job, I would not have been able to do that. So, I mean, I have so much more autonomy now. My days are shorter. It's just, I have more control over my schedule. And the good thing about having a DPC panel is that my patients, they really get to know me and I really get to know them. They always come in, they ask, how's Zoe doing? It feels like how old-fashioned medicine was before, right? It's like small town, everyone knows you. So being able to spend that time with my daughter and with my family has been amazing. It's a different kind of responsibility now as an entrepreneur, right? It's not necessarily easier or harder. It's just different. But like you say, we had to focus on that 20x, right? So knowing what actions that you have to do that really have high yield or the most impact to get your business moving forward, to move that needle forward, I really am trying to focus more on those tasks. And then delegate the rest of the 80, the 80%. 20% and 80%. And then also, I recently went on vacation with a good friend. I haven't been able to do that for a long time. So we went to New Mexico for that international balloon fiesta they had. So that was a good thing too. I haven't had a vacation like that in a long time. Like definitely since I opened my practice this year, probably more than a year ago, I haven't been able to do that. My parents are here too. So because my days are shorter, I get to spend that time with my parents. I take my daughter so she can spend time with my parents. It's something that I haven't been really able to do consistently, but now I can do that. And then the final thing is, of course, like with me and my husband and my daughter, we're spending a lot more time together. But for me personally, this is probably the healthiest that I've been in a long time, both mentally and physically. And it's not just because having that time to focus on myself, but also realizing that, hey, self-care is important. I have time to put into my business, but I also have to take care of me. Otherwise, nothing else will be taken care of. So having those wins in my personal life has really been great to see. And I'm really excited. And it does blow my mind because this is all been going on since May, right? So since everything started. So I'm just really looking forward to keeping that momentum going.
Like 5 months, it's crazy. I am so happy for you. And for you to use words like, I have autonomy, I have time, I get to spend time with my daughter, with my husband, with my parents, right? Which is so important, right? Because we have to value what we have now. Time flies. It really does. Having the time for self-care. So to be in a position where you're like, I'm building a business, the business is working financially, I'm creating multiple verticals, I have a team, I'm learning to delegate, I'm learning to live in the 20%, I'm getting paid speaking gigs, and I have time for me, and I have time for my family, and I'm in the best shape of my life physically and mentally. I mean, that's magical. Like, how else do you describe that, right? That's just so good. So for you, because you're 5 months in, what would you say to someone who's maybe like you, they found the podcast, 3 years ago or so, and they're listening to the podcast and all of that, and you just want to tell them, listen, like the podcast is phenomenal. However, there's this place where in 5 months, you can be completely different. Okay. What would you tell that person?
I would tell them, it was like me, right? So if they were like me in the beginning, it's what really I have found to be helpful was you really don't have to go through this alone. And that's what it felt like with my old job, not just with my old job at corporate, but as I was doing private practice alone, right? I miss that camaraderie. I miss having that community. It's the community, Dr. Una. And that's probably why I but I went from advanced and I'm like, hey, I'm all in. I'm ready to go from advanced to grow because I love that the community is there. And the support and watching these people go through the same journey as you and these lessons that we learn from you and relearn and from you and the books, right? Because you don't always hear it the first time. I'm always surprised when I go back and listen to something. It's, oh, was that there before? This sounds like a new podcast, or even with reading books. So you're a different person the second time you hear it, the third time you hear it. I mean, all those lessons in the business school, they are just priceless. So again, I'm excited and I'm always looking forward to hearing other people's journeys. So if you are on the cusp, you're thinking about it, and you're someone who is an entrepreneur or wants to become one and see where your business can go, I mean, this is the opportunity of a lifetime, I think. And I'm so glad I did it. You'll be able to grow and flourish. You have a super amazing, supportive community that's been created for us by Dr. Una. And for that, Dr. Una, I'm forever grateful to you for for providing that opportunity for me.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Okay. So this has been, I mean, watching you over the last 5 months has been nothing but pure joy. And you already came in as an entrepreneur. You're already doing all the things. But I'm telling you, this is 5 months. I'm like, what will 3 to 5 years look like? It's going to be so wild. I'll be going like, if you want her autograph, you have to talk to me. I know her. Okay. But thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for taking us through all the nooks and crannies. But I do want people to be able to support you, right? That's the way we pay back on the Entremd podcast, one of the ways. So tell people where they can find you.
Sure. So you can find me. So the 3 platforms that I'm on. So Instagram. So that's Dr. Tui. That's dr.tui. And then on TikTok, Dr. Tui was already taken. So I had to use Dr__Tui. So that's dr__Tui. And then on Facebook, it's just facebook.com/Dr. Tui Lauilefue. So Lauilefue. And my website is thurstoninternalmedicine.com, and it's got all the information on it.
There you go. So people go follow her. Okay. And if people in that area, tell them I met your physician. Okay. Here you go. All right. Thank you so much again for coming on the show. For everyone listening, I want you to take a screenshot of this episode, post it on social media, tag me, tag her, and then let the world know, hey, I mean, Dr. Tui is amazing. This is what I learned from her journey. Tell them to go subscribe to the Entremd podcast. And I will see you, my friend, on the next episode of the Entremd podcast. If you enjoy listening to the Entremd podcast, you have to check out the Entremd Business School. It's the #1 business school for physicians who want to build 6, 7, and multiple 7-figure businesses. You get the coaching, the accountability, and the community you need to do the work so you can thrive. To find out if this is your best next step, book a call with my team, entremd.com/call. That's entremd.com/call. I can't wait to celebrate all the wins we can create together.